Right. I've got the volume up as full as I can.
I can hear. I'm good.
You
You just have to repeat questions. That's all.
All right. Now, I just did a quick, pretty short overview of start to finish for some strategy. In other words, you start with what you want.
Yep.
You build it for your social media. The different networks require a little bit of different building.
Yep.
Everything has a call to action, a shiny object of some sort, a keyword, a purpose. There's analytics that can measure that, and then from there, you may want to drive it further to a website where you have a plan for that, maybe a contact form. Things can be measured as well, but the whole idea is nothing is done haphazardly. It is always done with a plan.
Yep. So I agree, and I'm going to throw a resource right out off the top. Have a good friend on online who I know very well. Her name is Kim Doyle. And she, if you do a search on her name, Doyal, and Content Creators Planner, she's actually created a bound Content Creators Planner for planning your social media. I think it's about $40 US or something like that, but it's well worth it. I don't have mine handy, but a lot of it is planning. A lot of it is not just taking social media and scheduling it. A lot of people just take their social media and schedule it. And the problem with that is, what happens if you schedule a post that becomes untimely due to what's going on in the world? Think about that. Think about the damage to yourself or your brand. That happens all the time. Ask the president of the U.S. about that, and he's another story. But the point I'm making is be aware, too, of what you're doing on social media. Be aware of what's going on in the world. Be aware of what's going on in the community. Sometimes what you want to say is inappropriate based on what's happening. Don't say it. Like, really filter what you say. And don't get into all these little, what I call chicken fights. You know, there's a whole crew of people now on Facebook, for example. They read headlines and they don't read the story. And they become experts on what's in the story based on a two-line headline. Don't get into those battles. They're not worth your time. Or your reputation, frankly.
And you talked about using Hootsuite. We talked last week a little bit about Hootsuite.
Yep. My favorite tool. So let's show some stuff. Hang on a sec. Hootsuite is like my number one go-to tool. Okay. Just a minute. So, can you guys see a Hootsuite screen in front of you?
Yeah.
Okay. So this is my live Hootsuite feed. I usually use it to manage, excuse me, two things. One, my Twitter feed. Two, my LinkedIn feed. I typically don't manage my Facebook feed from Hootsuite. And part of the reason, sorry guys, for that is, let's go back there. I'm sorry. One of the reasons I don't manage my Facebook feed from it is Facebook really likes real-time engagement, and they're not a big fan of scheduling, even though they let you schedule posts within it. So I tend to manage Facebook organically. And the way I kind of lay mine out is, on the left-hand side, I have a mentions column, which are basically my mentions. Then I have all the tweets that I send right next to it. I like to be aware, even if I'm scheduling or doing live tweets, I do both, what I've said. So that's right here. Right next to that, I have my LinkedIn updates and my LinkedIn homepage. And then if you go across, I've got several other things going on here. I do have my Facebook page right here just to keep an eye on it. But the thing about Hootsuite is you can only run 10 columns across. So up here, I've got multiple groups. So if I go here, it's going to take a minute to load. I've got different groups, and these are all lists. So in Twitter, what makes the power of it is the Twitter list. So this is a list of people I talk to. This is a list of like really close people. And then we get into some other lists, Toronto media, media worldwide, law enforcement, sports, social media, transportation, web hosting. These are all web hosting companies. Let's go to this one here, this marketing one. And these are all hashtags. These are search terms. So I'm actually doing a search on digital marketing, a search on marketing. And that's the value of hashtags. And I just kind of break it up nicely. Does that kind of make sense, guys?
Yeah.
So the whole purpose is to organize yourself for what works for you. And that's what I've done with this. I've organized it. Now, one caveat. If you're running the free version of Hootsuite, you cannot see Twitter direct messages, DMs in Hootsuite. They do not allow it anymore. You have to either use the Twitter app or you have to use the paid version. Just keep that in mind. But that's kind of how I let's get off here. How I manage my my stuff. So does that? Yeah, go ahead.
How do you pick the hashtags? Because the class is going to want to know from their specific point of view. How do they pick specific hashtags to and why? What's the strategy for hashtags? Why follow hashtags? And
okay, so really good question. So the reason you can follow, on Twitter, you can follow lists, which you can create in Twitter, which are lists of people. You can follow individual people, and you can follow a hashtag. A hashtag is a search term. So I don't know if you guys know, but if you take the top 10 search sites in the world, Facebook isn't one of the top 10. Google's like king. YouTube's number 2, and it comes down from there. But then if you look at alternative search sites, so the top alternative searches, one is a site called DuckDuckGo, and the one that's right behind it is Twitter. So by using hashtags, so when you see a tweet at Jeff Brown, pound Toronto, that in essence makes Toronto a search term. And what I would kind of do is play around and look at hashtags that are relevant to you and your business. So like I follow, for example, pound SEO, which is search engine optimization discussions. I'll follow pound Toronto because that tells me what's going on locally. I'll follow pound Canada because that's Canadian discussions, and so on. There's actually some websites too that will let you search hashtags to find out. So if you do a Google search on hashtags, there's some tools out there to help you.
And that can show us some of the more popular ones.
Pardon?
That can show us some of the more popular hashtags.
Yes. No question. And you'll get a feel for which ones are popular. Like, I'll give an example. During the Toronto Raptors playoff run, pound Raptors was running wild in this country because of what was going on. So, or pound the 6, which is what they call Toronto was running wild. And those are what they talk about trending too. So when you hear something trending, it's usually the hashtag trending.
Okay.
It takes work to make an event trend, by the way. We did an event, trying to think, I was involved in an event it's got to be about 7 years ago. And it was when actually it's more than that, it's about 8 or 9 years ago. It was the day that Rob Ford, the mayor of Toronto, was being implicated for all the drug stuff that he was doing. And we did an event on Twitter where we out-trended that news. So that was quite the feat, actually. So when you go, the other thing is, Jeff, not to cut you off, when you go to an event, if you guys ever look, they'll say tweet at us and use this hashtag. They're doing that to get those events trending. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Okay. But be careful not to use a disaster hashtag.
Be careful not to use a disaster hashtag, he said.
Yeah, and be careful not to use a hashtag where there's issues going on in the world at the time.
Yeah, be careful.
There was a well-known company in the States that didn't pull back tweets in the middle of an earthquake because they were pre-scheduled and somebody goofed. And they took a lot of flack for it. So you have to be aware on social media what's going on around you and not just locally. Okay.
Okay. Talk a little bit about Google My Business, Rob.
Oh, one of my favorite topics. Okay. So Google My Business, and I'm going to go to one in a minute, is a free business listing. And if you go to it, you can set up a business listing for your company, include things like pictures, hours, photos, a map, reviews, important, and any other information about your company. And they've been making changes to it. I want to show you guys real quickly what a Google My Business, let's get rid of this. People like to find me. My Business map listing looks like, because it matters. So let's go here. Just give me a sec. Okay, so here. So can you guys see this map that's up on the screen? Okay. So this map is actually my business location. And here is a pinpoint of where my office is, which is actually my home in this case. Down on the left-hand side, there's a couple things: where I'm located, what my website is, what my hours are. Down here is a link to my appointment booking system, and so on. So this actually helps, because when people are looking at Google Maps, you show up on a map. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. The other thing you can do, and I'm going to switch screens again. This is kind of, let's go back here. This is kind of a Google My Business page. There's some basic stuff you can put on. Tells you how many people viewed it, how many searches on Google. You can post posts. You can post info about your business. This is really important. Tells you what the business is, what the hours are, what you do. Not everybody sees all this. Like things like the Google Ads stuff is internal. You can post reviews. So I've got reviews. Here they are. They're all 5-star reviews. One's a 4-star.
Give you some stars. Is that what that does?
Yeah, 5-star is the best. But people do searches. So let me come back. Hang on a second. People do searches on Google reviews. They search you out. So if I'm going to do business or collaborate with somebody, or even if somebody's looking to hire my agency, I'll go and do a search. And I look at what their reviews are, what type of business they are, what they're doing. Google My Business is free. That's the other value to it. And Google My Business results show up higher in local search results. So the way Google search works is, if you're in Nova Scotia and you do a search for digital marketing, your top results are going to be local first. Whereas if you're in Toronto and you do a search, your top results are going to be local first. And believe it or not, Google's My Business pages rank higher and up towards the top of search. So that's the compelling reason for doing it. And they've made a couple of changes recently to Google My Business. One, so I'm going to read a stat for you. And this is according to Social Media Today. 63% of all consumers follow businesses are trying to learn about sales in the businesses. So that's compelling. They've included some stuff to do welcome offers. They're in the process of integrating some custom URLs into Google My Business, which weren't there before. And they've basically added some more photo options for businesses and ways they can take photos. So they're really trying to expand out the whole sociability of Google My Business. That's a good idea. Sorry about the noise. Somebody decides they want to mow lawns at this ungodly hour. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So what types of information really are key to have in Google My Business?
Your business name, what you do, the category of business, your hours, your phone number, an email address, how you can get a hold of you. Hours are as important as anything. Just one sec. Sorry. Sorry about that. Let's get rid of that now. The really one of the things, and reviews. I mean, to me, the two key thing are the hours and the reviews. That's what people go there. Because you got to remember something too. What's happening in the search world is, are any of you in retail? Okay. So we know about these things, right? Smartphones. Okay. What happens is people are driving around, they do a search, they get a Google My Business listing, they look at the map, and they go there. And if you're in the restaurant business, that's like 75%. People who search online on their phones go to that business through a Google listing. And that's something you need to keep in mind. So people are looking to get information quick, and they're looking to get there. That's often why they're using Google My Business listings. That's pretty compelling when you look at stuff like that. Go ahead, Jeff.
What extra super duper advice do you have for Google My Business? It's the typical stuff that most people don't think about putting in. What can we put in extra that gives us the edge?
I give you an edge. You're allowed to upload short videos to Google My Business. Upload review videos. Get a customer to do a 30-second review as a video and upload that. That works really well.
Talk about those 30-second videos, because you and I have done them.
There was a company in the States, not in the States, in the islands, and it was a dental office. So I actually stole the idea, but good marketers steal ideas, so you get used to that. And what they do is they have customers that come in every day and they get their teeth done, whitened, whatever. And they actually say to their customer, will you do a quick 25-minute testimonial, and they shoot it raw on a smartphone. And that alone is compelling because you're not editing the videos to raw, and it shows people really what's going on. They're not staged, and that's the key. People like authenticity. They like short videos. Short videos work well on Google My Business. They work well on Facebook. They work well on Twitter. If you're going to do long-form videos, go to YouTube. Anything over 3 or 4 minutes, go to YouTube. People won't watch them on Facebook. Don't even bother. Not worth it. And there's stats. And if you want to find out more about these stats, do a search on Social Media Examiner Industry 2019 report. And what Social Media Examiner has done is they've put together this large PDF report. All they require, it's gated, so all they require is an email address. And they will send you a link to their PDF, and it's pages and pages of what the social media trends are, what the marketing trends are, what the advertising trends are for social media for this year.
I'll see that they get a copy of that, Rob.
Yeah, you have. I've given you that. Now, what I'll tell you is, if you're advertising, since we're going down this rabbit hole, we might as well. Facebook, even though it's dominant in the market, is starting to decline. LinkedIn and Instagram are picking up a little bit of the slack.
Okay. We got a quick question here, Rob. Mike?
Yes.
Yeah, I just wanted, being on Google My Business, does that help bring your ranking on Google up?
Sure does. For local SEO, it matters big time. And any business that doesn't have a Google My Business page is missing out.
Big time.
So yes.
Yep.
My agency sold 5 in the last couple of weeks, where I went to people I noticed didn't have a Google My Business page and said, we'll do it for you.
Do you have any quick tips on how to bring your business up to the top of Google a little more, or besides that? Or?
Oh, wow. Oh, what a rabbit hole that one is. Yeah, I do, actually. One, look at what your competitors are doing. Two, look at what types of content they're doing, what they're doing, what keywords they're targeting, target the same keywords. Three, make sure if you're running WordPress, you're running an SEO plugin, but remember, it's only a tool. It's not going to fix it. 4, make sure all the images on your website are optimized and have proper tags on them.
Yeah.
5, learn something about SEO a little bit. And 6, realize SEO and marketing is like dating. It's all about whining and dining and making a relationship, and there's no easy fix.
Okay.
Okay, so by that I mean everybody thinks SEO, you make changes, they take effect in 1 month. I'm in the middle of an SEO project right now, and I can guarantee you the changes won't take effect for 5 months. 7, make sure you have relevant content. 8, if on your website you have old content that's not relevant to what you're doing today, get rid of it. 9, make sure your content's up to date. 10, and this is going to surprise Jeff, don't waste your time on your website about putting links showing your Twitter feeds and things like that. Those APIs actually slow down your website, and website speed's a factor in SEO.
Okay.
If you're wanting WordPress, make sure you optimize your database on a regular basis. There's ways to do that. That's another discussion. Make sure your site speed's good. Make sure the web host that you're on is a good host, and they care about speed, especially if you're on shared hosting.
Awesome.
And work at it. There's no easy solution, honestly. There's some quickies, but there's not. Yeah.
There's a lot of pieces to the pie. Yeah.
Yeah, keywords is part of it, but there's a lot of pieces. And most people think SEO and rankings is a set it and forget it strategy. It's not. It's a constant work in progress. And it's a moving target because Google changes the rules every month.
Yeah.
So
we did a little bit of keyword research.
Yep.
In this program here, we introduced the idea that there are words that will potentially bring or increase visibility. It's not an incredibly fun and sexy thing to do, but it is a necessary thing to do on a regular basis.
So is competitors' keyword research. So I actually, because I run an agency, I use a product called SEM Rush, but it's not for the faint at heart. If you go to Google and do a search and say, give me some free keyword research tools, there's all kinds of articles about some free tools to help you.
Okay. Good. You guys
But I would work at that. Oh, and one more thing. Make sure you get your business into every local and national business directory you can find that's free.
That's a good one, yeah.
Okay. Let's take some questions, Rob.
Sure, whatever. I'm open. Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, videos. Oh, I do want to show you guys something. We're talking about video just because I like toys, and Jeff knows how much I like toys, right?
Yeah.
If you're shooting a lot of video, get one of these. What this is it's a plastic piece. It's got 2 handles on it. You put your smartphone in the middle, so it's easier to stable your phone. It's about $18 on Amazon, but take the time and get one. Now I'll take questions. Go ahead.
Do you have any idea what it's called? So we can.
It's called a cell phone rig, RIG. If you look on Amazon, they sell them. They're about $17.
That's a good idea, Rob.
Yeah, and it actually, the cool thing with this, I'm going to come back to it. See these 2 mounts up here at the top? You can actually mount an external mic and an external camera up at the top. I do that. So I had one, I cracked it. I just ordered a new one. And you can even put this on a tripod. There's a screw down here at the bottom.
Oh, wow.
So you can do all kinds of cool things. Like, I'll grab one more just because we're on that. This is a small tabletop tripod. See the little piece at the top? This is a plastic piece, and this holds a cell phone. You can even buy these mounts on their own so that if you're shooting video for your social media for business, you can shoot off a tripod. Much better than shooting off your hand all day, believe me. And there's you can get an external mic too. I personally like the Rhodes, RHODE. Pardon?
Talk about the external mic, because that's a big deal. A lot of people just simply use the mic and the camera.
Yeah, I use an omnidirectional external when I'm shooting, called a Rode, RHODE. I use an omnidirectional. It's about $80. It's on Amazon. I will when we're done, what I usually do with these talks is I give Jeff a page that he'll email out to you, and I'll put a link on the bottom of it to a newsletter I sent out a couple months ago that had all the stuff in the shoot video on the cheap from your smartphone. So there's actually links to the Amazon pages that say, get this, get this, get this. And you can really do it, honestly, for social media. For the mic's the most expensive thing. For if you already have the phone, I mean, the rig is $20. The mic's about $80. If you want a tripod, you can get a good one for about 20 or 25 bucks. An adapter to go on the tripod's another 10. It's not terrible. Like, it really isn't. The reason you want to go to a mic is the reason for that is the audio is better, and audio is a big part of video. And also, if you're looking at doing video and you're looking at editing and you want to save some money, do a search for a program called DaVinci, spelled DAVICINI, Resolve. It's by a company called Blackmagic, and DaVinci Resolve is a product that's free. They have a professional version, but the free version is better than most paid products I've seen on the market for editing video. So check that out.
Would you send that link on your email too as well?
Yeah, it'll go on the page, and I'll put the page together tonight. I'm running out the door after the talk, and then Jeff will send it out to you over the weekend. But it'll be there. Yep. Questions? Quiet group. Come on, guys.
We don't have any questions.
No.
Well, here's an interesting one, Rob.
Yeah.
We've got a participant here that makes an environmentally friendly product.
Okay.
Called Easy Wraps.
Oh, cool.
And I'm thinking if this thing's going to take off, just bananas.
Yep.
What are your thoughts on the staging out of the process?
You mean on trying to promote the product?
No, it's on growth per se. Because you've got a small business and it's grown to a bigger business.
Yeah, it's going huge. It takes time, like patience, time, and finding yourself around the right people. I really think that's important. Like, I have a saying, business is 90% mindset and 10% execution. And I really believe that. So if your head's not in the game, the people around you aren't in the game, if you're married or in a relationship and your partner or spouse isn't supportive, you got a problem. Big problem. And you should be looking at it, are you doing the right thing? Because that's an issue. I mean, I see a lot of cases where a lot of people don't do as well or they fail. I don't say fail, but they don't learn, because you got to treat mistakes as learning experiences. Some of the best people in history, including CEOs of major companies, have had setbacks in their lives, believe it or not. Guys like Michael Dell, guys like Bill Gates, guys like the president of Amazon, their life hasn't always gone that easy. And what you got to remember is setbacks are part of the game. Market research is part of the game. Proof of concept is part of the game. So do some case studies, get some small groups together, maybe offer some discounts to some early adopters just to get it out there.
Remember how what was that now? Wasn't that coffee maker? Was it Tassimo? How they did the marketing?
Kruik. Yeah, Tassimo. Sorry, you're right. Tassimo, about 5 years ago now, I was having a discussion with a friend of mine on social media about coffee. And Tassimo's marketing rep, they use a big agency, came to me and said, can we send you one for free? We like what you're talking about. All we want you to do is a quick survey. And they said, not only will we send you one, we'll send 2 friends of yours ones as well. And we'll toss them $40 in coffee to say thank you. Now, at the end of the day, if you bought it at the time, the retail value probably was $150 a unit. So cost would have been 30 or 40 bucks, right, to get it out there. But by doing this, they created this whole buzz around their product. Companies that have contests. I'll give you an example. We go to a dog show in Toronto called Woofstock. It's North America's biggest dog festival. And every year they have a VIP contest. And every year people hate me because one of the things that the VIP contest counts, every tweet is a vote. Every Facebook post is a vote. So I actually set my Twitter account up to send out like thousands of tweets to stuff my ballot box. but, and I win every year, by the way. I should tell you that. They give out like 100 VIP bags and they're like $100 in value for your dogs. But that gets their hashtag out there. So it's PR. So that's the other thing to do. And if you're doing contests on social media, especially on Facebook, read the rules, because Facebook's rules for doing contests are very convoluted and they change all the time.
Nobody follows them.
Pardon?
Tag your friends, it's
But one day it'll get ripped down.
Yeah. Giveaways in a contest is a great way to do buzz for your business. It's cheaper than running ads. But that all said, when you get to the point where you've got the money, the fastest way to ROI, to return on investment, is paying for ads on social media, by far. Faster than SEO, faster than retargeting, faster than anything. Paying for social media ads is the fastest way. And unfortunately, the big brands are all about to jump into the ad game. I work with a couple, and the minute they do, the cost is going to go up. And it's going to get awful, I think. In the next 2 years, it's going to double.
cost of the ads.
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. Because the big brands have resisted. There's some doing it. I mean, I'll give you an example of a company that does retargeting ads really well in Canada is Additional Canada, the plus size chain. Disclaimer, I do some work with them. But they do a really good job of retargeting ads. So you go to their website and you jump on Facebook, I guarantee you're going to get all kinds of additional ads. They do a great job. And they've created a community. They actually get ladies on their page posting the outfits they bought, they wear. And they give away a prize every month. There you go. The best testimonial going, real customers wearing the clothes saying, I look good in this, here's a picture.
And that's an important thing we talked about in this course about building community.
Yeah.
And that you want to talk a little bit about that as far as.
Yeah, it's really important. The work I do, if I go and outsource, I go to somebody I know in the community. It's all about relationships. It goes back to that whole dating thing. It's all about, you go on a date, you take somebody out, you take them out for dinner, you wine and dine them, you have a couple more dates, and then you decide, is this the right fit for me or not fit for me, somewhere along the line. Well, marketing and business is exactly like that. You build that, and you build communities, and you build tight communities. And I belong to a Facebook community called the Content Creators. Well recommended to anybody, run by Kim Doyle. There's over 3,500 members, and these people are supportive. It's not, hey, buy my product. We actually don't allow that in that community. We don't allow self-promotion, but it's, I'm trying to do this on a video. Can I get some help? I'm trying to do this. Can I get some help? And the key players in that community are very helpful. And they'll help you, and they'll guide you, and and there's some really cool communities like that. I'm in a couple web agency communities that are the same. I've got a couple of friends. I mean, Jeff's a good example. Jeff and I have known each other, I think, for about 9 or so years. And we've only been in person in the same room once. It's all about community. And anybody thinks you can't develop communities on the internet, no, they're not thinking. Because the internet's real life, and people need to understand that. I've got a friend of mine in India. who does work for me, and him and I talk, if anything, in text message every day. You know, you develop those relationships, and they matter. So think about that, and think about the outreach. You know, there's no time zone, there's no ethnic boundaries, there's no cultural boundaries, and be careful of that too, because what you say, you might think it's okay, but some culture might get bent out of shape over.
Questions?
It's a lot to think about.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah.
Really good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love
But
it.
it's trial and error too. Like, believe me, I've made a few mistakes in my time. And as I'll tell Jeff, and he knows this, as I've gotten older, I've actually mellowed.
Yes, you have.
big time. Now I just walk away from stuff. And if you're a brand on social media, be responsive to your customers. The brands that aren't responsive are the ones that get raked over the coals. And I'll give you an example of that. Everybody know who Wyndham Hotels is? Do you guys know? They own Days Inn, they own Howard Johnson's, they own Wyndham Resorts, Wyndham Timeshares, Travel Lodge, and so on. Okay? They're all Wyndham brands. 4 years ago, I was trying to get ready for a wedding, and I had sent a Wyndham Hotel an email and a social media post and didn't get very far. Big mistake. I wrote Wyndham. The end result was I wrote Wyndham a 25-page report on what they were doing wrong on social media. They are one of my biggest clients to this day.
Wow.
Things happen. So you got to be cognizant of what you say and how you say it. And you got to remember not to work your social media in a silo. Many people do that, and they get caught in their own little world, but you got to be really aware of what's going on around you. And that includes stupid things like what the president of the U.S. said. It includes stupid things like what the premier of Ontario says. And my best advice to you is, no matter what you believe and don't believe, stay out of the religious and political conversations, because you don't want to go down those holes. Learn to filter. You can have your beliefs, you can talk to friends, but don't do it in the open. It's not worth it, because you don't know where your next client's coming from.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
I believe in that so strongly.
Give us a really good parting thought before we let you go.
Just take the time and organize your social media and do what works for you, and try some stuff and then try it again, but also follow some of the big accounts. And by the way, don't forget about Instagram. The relationship's growing there. Don't forget about video on social media. Instagram stories is growing. And just be real. I mean, that's the biggest thing. And actually engage with people. So don't automate it all. Take the time and engage and build some relationships. That's important.
Okay. Well, Rob, we're going to let you go.
Congratulations, guys. It's your last day.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rob. We'll be talking shortly.
Have a good day, everybody. Bye for now.
All right. Take care.